Thanks, Kara. Great introduction. I am personally very excited about today's talk. We have been talking, or frankly, we have been talking about agility in complex systems for quite a while. It's one of my personal passions. In fact, I think it's a passion for a lot of our community as well, because last year's webinar on the agility in complex systems that I delivered was a record setter for us. Record in terms of people that attended live, as well as follow-on. Actually, the people that viewed that webcast after it was delivered was larger than the people that saw it. In fact, we still get people every week. There's a handful of people that view that webcast. Hey, Kara, can you go on mute? Thank you. Great. So, very excited again to talk today, and we have a renowned Agile thought leader, Dean Leffingwell, here with us today to share some thoughts on the subject as well. So let's jump into it right away. That's about the gang. So the agenda for today, I'm going to give a 3-slide overview on agility for complex embedded systems. This is just sort of to set the stage, review what we talked about a year ago, and talk about some shortcomings that, frankly, we've had in helping our customers adopt Agile practices. I'm just going to talk about those slides from the value we give and the shortcomings we have, because the shortcomings we're going to introduce are really resolved with the SAFe framework. And then Dean's going to take it over from there, talk about the SAFe framework. I think Dean would be the first to tell us that that framework has been built from experiences over many years, but predominantly in what we would call the IT space. Dean does have experience in the complex embedded space, but I think a lot of SAFe was built from experiences with the IT domain with Agile teams and scaling those Agile teams to program and a portfolio level. We're going to work with the Scaled Agile folks and extend SAFe and enhance SAFe to support some of the things we do in complex systems around requirements management, modeling, verification, validation, cross-organization collaboration. And after Dean presents, I want to give you a preview of the things that we're introducing into SAFe, and then those will be subsequent webinar sessions that we present. So our goal with this webinar session is much of an introduction, and then you'll see other webcasts from us that address each one of these practices down the road. Quickly about the engineering challenges, I won't go into the details. The highlights are this, that our complexity for the systems that we build is ever increasing and has been and shows no sign of stopping. At the same time, our cycle times are decreasing. In fact, most customers we work with today are in a continuous release pattern. We're continuously releasing product, continuously releasing updates. We're a supplier, and we're continually releasing drops of the things we're providing to the supplier so they can do their integration and give us feedback on what's working and not working. And really a lot of that complexity is in the behavioral part. If you look at, I say this a lot, but if you look at any of the systems that we use today, whether it be a gas pump or a cell phone or your automobile, if you back up 10 years ago and look at what that system looked like, the user experience of that system was dramatically different. In fact, picking on the automobile industry, that's what they're selling cars now. Automobile manufacturers talk about the driver experience. That's what drives the sale of cars. No more horsepower, tire size, etc. The challenge with that is that the behavioral parts of the system, first off, we have to understand it, but it also impacts all the segments of these systems. So if you begin keeping with the automotive trend, if I was a system engineer many years ago, I could just go to the engines and pick one of their engines and the chassis and the wiring and the lighting, and I can basically make a bill of materials out of the product that each one of my segments produces, and I can make that my vehicle. Or suppliers are producing. It's a nice, easy thing to do for supply chain. Now I've got these features that span a lot of my vehicle segments. So if I'm looking at new features,